A body is being driven on a smooth horizontal road with constant force. This is important point. Initially body is at rest. Okay, this is another important hint. Power developed by external agent applying force depends on time s. So if I go for equation of motion in simple way, v is equal to u plus at. According to the problem, initial velocity is 0. So we have v is equal to at. Now, if I replace the value of acceleration in terms of force upon mass into t, so this is the velocity. And if I go for the formula of power is calculated by force into velocity and cos theta. But question says body is being driven on a smooth horizontal road. So theta is 0 and you know cos 0 is equal to 1. So we have only Fv. The value of V is this as I discussed. So when I will place the value F upon m into t, so we'll get F square upon m into t, that is equal to power. As per the question, force is constant and mass is also constant. So we can take this value as a constant. So we have a relation P is directly proportional to T. So my option number first is correct. So let's move on. Question number 27. A weightless rod of length L carries two equal mass M. This is M. On the middle and the other at the end C of the rod, horizontal velocity which must be imparted to the end C, this point C, so that the rod just becomes horizontal is. So this is very important point for us. Rod becomes horizontal is. So if I go for the diagram, let us consider at the point C and mass is m, velocity is v. So if I go at the middle, because this is L by 2, because rod becomes horizontal, so angular velocity will remain same. यहाँ पर हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि इस जब मैं C की बात करता हूं तो रेडियस होगा L और जब मैं मिडिल पर जाऊंगा तो रेडियस हो जाएगा L by 2. बट मुझे वेलोसिटी को मेंटेन रखना है, तो जब रेडियस हाफ हो जाएगी तो ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ दैट वी कैन टेक हियर वेलोसिटी इज v by 2. एंड क्वेश्चन में बोला जा रहा है कि आपको बताना है सो दैट रॉड जस्ट बिकम्स हॉरिजॉन्टल. सो इफ आई गो फॉर द कंजर्वेशन ऑफ मैकेनिकल एनर्जी, सो विल राइट इनिशियल काइनेटिक प्लस इनिशियल पोटेंशियल एंड फाइनल काइनेटिक प्लस फाइनल पोटेंशियल. सो विल राइट change in kinetic energy is equal to change in potential energy with the negative sign according to the law of conservation of mechanical energy. So I am going to use directly. First I will write the kinetic energy half mv square at the point C, and at the middle the kinetic energy is half mv square by 4. So now first I am going to take the total kinetic energy. First, if I take at point C, the kinetic energy is half mv square, and if I go for the middle point, kinetic energy of the mass is half mv square by 4. But if I take this point is our reference line, so we'll decide the height or position of the particle. So at the point C, we'll write the potential energy is mgl, and at the middle potential energy will be mgl by 2, because position of this particle is L by 2 from our reference line. So on solving we'll get V is equal to 12 GL upon 5. जब आप कैलकुलेशन करोगे दोनों को ऐड करके तो आपको ये वैल्यू मिलेगी V is equal to 12 times of GL upon 5. So my option number 4 is correct. So let's move on. Question number 28. So if I go for question number 28, in the figure shown a small ball, the obliquely a smooth horizontal surface with speed u, whose x and y components are indicated. If the coefficient of restitution is 3 by 4, speed of particle after the collision will be. So if I go for the diagram first, this is according to the problem, component of velocities are indicated. So this is initial velocity along x-axis, that is 3 meter per second, and initial velocity along y-axis, that is 4 meter per second. And when the ball will strike this, so we can take this is our tangential axis and this is our normal axis or line of impact. And मुझे पता है there will be no change in velocity along tangential axis, but there will be change in velocity along normal axis. So if I take the reflection or a rebound, जब collision हो जाएगा तो final velocity along x-axis there will be no change, but when I will go along normal axis, then final velocity will given by e times of initial velocity along y-axis. जैसा हमने पीछे क्वेश्चन में भी डिस्कस किया है, for nth rebound we will take e to the power n into u. तो यहाँ पर भी I would repeat, there will be no change in velocity along tangential axis and there will be change in velocity along normal axis because this is the point of contact. तो ये आपका normal और line of impact है और दूसरा है tangential axis. So now, according to the diagram, Vx is equal to Ux and that is 3 meter per second because I would repeat there is no change in velocity, and Vy is equal to e times of initial velocity along y-axis. So value of e is 3 by 4 and initial velocity is 4. So 4 will cancel. I have 3 meter per second. Now if I go for the speed of particle after the collision, so this is the speed after the collision. So we can calculate because this is 3I cap. If you go the vector, this is 3I cap and this is 3J cap. So simply you can solve Vx square plus Vy square. When I will place the value of Vx 3 square, Vy 3 square, so we'll get 3 root 2 meter per second. So my option number third is correct. So let's move on question number 29. If I go in question number 29, the potential energy U of a particle of mass 1 kg moving in xy plane is given by U is 3x plus 4y, where x, y are in meter, U is in joule. If initially particle was at rest, then its speed at t equal 2 seconds will be. So I want to calculate the speed. So because potential energy of mass of 1 kg moving xy plane, so you know from conservative force we have a relation minus dabber u by dabber r. So if I go along x-axis, so we'll write minus dabber u dabber x because I have the value of potential energy and that is 3x plus 4y. So when I will take partial differentiation, fx is, you know very well, in the case of partial differentiation we will treat x as a variable and y as a constant, so we'll get minus 3. So if I go for acceleration along x-axis, so that is calculated by force fx divided by the mass. Why we are going to take negative sign? Because negative sign is there. So when I will place the value of fx is 3, mass is 1, so we'll get minus 3 meter per second square is the acceleration along x-axis. Similarly, when I will use along y, so we'll take dabber u over dabber y. When you will differentiate, when you will take a partial differentiation once again, so we'll get minus 4. So acceleration along y-axis is minus 4 upon 1. So that is minus 4 meter per second square. So now, if I want to calculate the speed along x-axis, then we can use, because you are saying that हम लोग देख पा रहे क्योंकि फोर्स कांस्टेंट है, एक्सेलरेशन भी कांस्टेंट होगा, और अगर एक्सेलरेशन कांस्टेंट है तो हम लोग इक्वेशन ऑफ मोशन को यूज कर सकते हैं, ux ax into t. So when I will place the value of initial velocity, that is 0, acceleration is minus 3 into t. So velocity or speed along x-axis is only minus 3t. Similarly, if I go along y-axis, uy plus ay into t, uy once again we know 0 है, तो हम लोग जब वैल्यू पुट करेंगे तो मुझे मिलेगा माइनस 4t. अब मेरे पास vx का वैल्यू भी है, vy का वैल्यू भी है, तो वी कैन यूज सिंपल रिलेशन as usual as I discussed in the previous question. So you can calculate b by using vx square plus vy square. Vx is minus 3t, vy is minus 4t, so on solving we'll get 5t, but according to the problem t is 2 seconds. So when you will place the value of time, will get the final speed is 10 meter per second. So my option number first is correct. Let's move on question number 30. So now I am going to start the question number 30. A small ball of mass 1 kg moves inside a smooth fixed cylinder of radius 2 meter in vertical plane. If initial velocity of ball at point A is 10 meter per second, then acceleration of the ball at point B. So I want to calculate acceleration of ball at point B. So first I am going to take the diagram. Suppose this is, as per the question, the initial speed is 10 meter per second at point A, and if I go at point B, then you know there is one acceleration toward the center, that is centripetal acceleration, and this is the direction of velocity at point B, and there is another acceleration will act, that is acceleration due to gravity. Okay, so we have two type of acceleration. Now, so if I go for the centripetal acceleration or radial acceleration, that is given by v square by r is the radius, and if I go for tangential acceleration, so we will write tangential acceleration is equal to g, as I discussed in the previous question. Okay, so now if I want to find the acceleration, so acceleration हम लोग कैलकुलेट कर सकते, हमें पता है रेडियल एक्सेलरेशन, टेंजेंशियल एक्सेलरेशन. The value of radial acceleration is, so I want to calculate first radial acceleration, but अगर मुझे radial acceleration calculate करना है तो मुझे requirement है velocity और speed at point B. So how you will calculate? So first I am going to calculate speed at B by using the equation of motion. So initial speed is va square at the point A, and minus 2as, a is z, s is equal to r, because r is the radius of this circle, so that will give you the height. So when I will place the value a is 10, जैसा हमने पहले से भी डिसाइड किया है, क्वेश्चन में दिया है कि at point A speed is 10, minus 2 the value of g is 10, and r is equal to 2, radius is 2 meter as per the question. So when you will solve, you will get 60 meter per second, and this is the value of bb square. Okay, so you will get the value of 60 meter per second, and this is the value of v square b, 60 meter per second. Okay, so now we can calculate the value of radial acceleration by using this value. Vb square is 60 and radius is 2, so that will give you 30 meter per second square. And so now I am going to place this value. Radial acceleration is 30 with the square, and tangential acceleration is only g, so this is 10 square. So when I will calculate, will get 10 root 10 meter per second square. So this is the acceleration of ball at point P. So my option number 4 is correct. So let's move on question number 31.